Hello everyone. So for this episode, we'll do the descriptives, but this time we're gonna use SPSS instead of Excel. So again, the difference between SPSS and Excel, part of the difference is that we need to set up the variables first. So let's use the same set of variables we used for the Excel, which is just the participant ID and height. Okay. So again, the first step is always to set up the ID and the height. And let's use another variable. Let's say year level. Probably let's just use year level, or maybe something else. Let's just use gender again. Let's just stick to the, again, when you're dealing with a label, a categorical variable, make sure that you put the values. So again, 1 is male, 2 is female. I mean, the numbers are arbitrary. You can use 99, 88, or whatever. And then you have the non-binary here. And that's pretty much all you need to change, plus the measure. Again, height is scale, gender is nominal. Okay. So it's really just that. Just set up the variables first, and so that when you go back to your data view, you have all of the columns ready. Again, Excel is also SPSS is compatible with Excel, so you can just copy paste from Excel to SPSS. Okay, and then you'll have it. So let's say we do 1 1 1 2 2 2 3 3 3 3. Okay, just to give that data set. Okay, so now we have a functional data set. The next step is really just to analyze it. Okay, so when you're dealing with descriptive statistics, it's quite straightforward. You go to analyze, and then you see descriptives. Now we usually use three. We usually use three tabs here: the frequencies, the descriptives, and cross tabs. Okay. Now, frequencies, you use it usually for nominal data. So for example, you go with gender and you just want to see how many people fall under which category. Okay, so in this case, there are 3 males, 3 females, 4 non-binary. Okay, and it gives you a percentage, a cumulative percent, though we don't usually use those for analytical purposes. But we can also use frequencies for scale or interval or ratio data. Specifically, we can go to statistics. You can click again the statistics buttons here. And when we're dealing with SPSS, okay, whenever you have a dialog box, you have all of these buttons that allow you to customize the analysis so that it gives you certain values that you want. So for example, in this case, if you click statistics, it will give you some options. Let's say you want quartiles, you want percentiles. In my case, I want to do a mean, median, mode, standard deviation, variance, and range, which are just the typical descriptive statistics you want. You can also use skewness, which is a measure of how skewed a distribution is. It's not a perfect measure, but you can always complement it with the chart, which is a histogram. So when you click the histogram, you have the option to show the normal curve to see if there is indeed, if it follows a normal curve. Okay, so you can just click all of those. Again, in statistics, you have the measures of central tendency, and for the charts you have histogram, so that when you press OK, it will give you these values. So here in statistics, you would see the different descriptive stats. Okay, you have the mean, which is 174.6. You have the median, and then the mode, the standard deviation of 14.9. So again, in the case of SPSS, it measures the sample variance and sample standard deviation, not the population. So it's a bigger number. Okay, so it's 14.9 and 222. Skewness is 0.039. Now, in terms of skewness, for the skewness, you don't want it to go beyond -1 or +1 because that's indicative of a skewed distribution. Okay. So this is how it looks like. This is the histogram, and as you can see, it's essentially in a normal curve. Okay, it's essentially a normal curve, and as you can see with the skewness, it's also the same. Okay, it's not beyond 1 or -1. Okay, so it's a good distribution. So that's the frequency tab. Okay, the other tab is descriptives. Okay, which functions the same. The difference is that it does not count the frequency. So for example, you still have the mean, you still have skewness, standard deviation, variance, things like that. It does not give you the mode and the median. So the mode and the median, I think, is part of the frequency. So in this case, if you just want a quick value, this is what you want. Okay, so descriptive statistics. Now the other tab that we also use is crosstabs. Okay, I won't show the entirety of crosstabs right now, but the goal of crosstabs is to give you a breakdown of values. So for example, let's look at gender and height. Okay, there are different options here, like statistics. This is what we use for chi-square or relative risk, for example, or odds ratio. These are statistics that are used in medical research. So for example, when you see claims like smoking increases your chances of developing lung cancer by 300%, that's based on a chi-square and specifically on an odds ratio or a relative risk study. So the crosstabs is the one that we use for this particular analysis. But for now, let's just keep it simple. Crosstabs just gives you a breakdown. Like for example, how many males have this particular value. Generally speaking, it's most useful if you are dealing with two nominal values, not two nominal variables. So for example, you want gender and you want, let's say, major, and you want either a humanities or to engineering. Let's say you are checking for bias, let's say, and you are arguing that there are more humanities, female humanities than, let's say, engineering, and there are more engineering males than humanities. So you can do, let's say, crosstabs of gender and major. So let's do the crosstabs of gender and major, and you will end up with this. So for example, there are, for among males, 1 humanities, 2 engineering, females 2 humanities, 1 engineering, and 2 for the non-binary, 2 each. Okay, so that's what crosstabs is for. If you want some level of breakdown, see how many people fall under 2 sets of variables. Okay, you can do it with 3 sets of variables, but it's a bit more complicated. So as you can see, you can use this particular function. Let's say how many people who are smoking, how many smokers had lung cancer, and how many smokers did not have lung cancer. How many non-smokers had cancer, and how many non-smokers did not have lung cancer. That's really the foundations of chi-square and risk analysis. Okay, so that's the descriptives tab for you. Very straightforward, gives you everything that you need. You just need to set it up in the options, like what kinds of statistics do you want. For some, they would want a quartile or a percentile analysis, but usually we don't use it. Okay, that's it. Thank you.